No particular order, really. They're all equally important, but I figure I'll just start at the top and go down from there. This first one is maybe self-evident, maybe it's not, but the work must sell. Okay, the work must sell. I cannot stress this enough. And if you are working on things, if you have not sold your work, okay, and if you have not sold your work, let's be honest, two strangers, two people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends, and you're working on anything else but attempting to figure that out, you're not taking your business seriously. You're on the path to a hobby, is what you're going to have, and you need to fix that immediately. The hundreds and thousands of artists that I've talked to throughout this year will oftentimes bring up all of these things that they're working on, all of these questions that they have, all of these reasons why they're so busy, why the business is not going anywhere. And then when you start asking them, has the work sold? Well, no. Or, well, I haven't really tried. Or I posted one thing on Facebook and it didn't sell. So the work must sell. And that, that really, really does sound, yeah, thank you. Art Marketing for Dummies 101. The work must sell. I get it. But it's so much more than that. Like, unless you make it a mantra, unless you can answer the question, whatever you're doing, are you either creating the work, marketing the work, or selling it? Then you're likely working on the wrong things, okay? The work must sell. And I always quote Picasso in these things because he's got this great book that was written. Somebody interviewed him and wrote him a book. It's called Conversations with Picasso by this, I think, Hungarian author. His name is Brassai. And he's asking Picasso, a little bit later in Picasso's career if he has any advice for up-and-coming artists, essentially. And Picasso's like, early on, my drawings did not command high prices, but they all sold. The work must go out into the world. The work has got to be selling. And the other thing that I took away from that book is Pablo Picasso, when he died, had over 45,000 unsold works in his inventory. Over 45,000. And what Pablo Picasso instinctively knew is that if he created some work and no one wanted to buy it, it didn't mean he was a crappy artist, okay? It just means that particular product that he created at that particular time was not something the market wanted. He didn't let that destroy him or derail him, or he didn't attempt to blame people or say art doesn't sell or it's a crappy economy. He understood that becoming a successful artist or photographer is really a game of archery, okay? What all artists and photographers do is they take this pen, which is their arrow, right? And think about archery for a second, their arrow. And this arrow represents what I love to create, what makes me feel creatively inspired. These are the photos that I like to take. This is what I'm good at. This is my style. This is what I love. And they take that arrow and they draw it back and they attempt to hit the target. And the target would be sales and sustained sales. And for some reason, they don't get those. They don't get those. And do you know what? All you did was fire an arrow and miss. Congratulations. We've all fired arrows and missed like a lot, right? It doesn't mean you're a crappy artist or you suck or you have to quit. It just means that arrow didn't work. So go and get another one, aim, fire, and see what happens, right? That's how Pablo Picasso ended up with 45,000 unsold pieces. So that's an important lesson to constantly remind oneself. And, in some cases, people don't ever even give their work a fair shot. They don't get it in front of enough eyeballs and they quit because they don't want to sell, or, they're terrible at selling, or they're terrified. They're terrified of quoting prices. There's a lot to unpack inside this, the work must sell thing. But if you're capable of self-reflection, certainly a talent I'm not high in regards on, always be asking yourself that. Is the work selling? If the work is selling, you're in a great place. You get to move up to the next problem. But if it's not, there's a number of different things to do there. So that one in and of itself is a complicated topic, is the word selling or not. But I'll probably in future episodes I'm going to unpeel that a million different ways to Sunday. But that needs to happen. So the work must sell, and it must sell to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends. Okay, table that one. That's number one. Number two, and this is really become apparent to me over the course of the last year, and it is a complicated one, but I want to explain it at a very quick high level. I'm going to go into some light detail on it, and then I have a very in-depth blog post that talks tactically about how to do this, okay? But you have to have a proper range of pricing, okay? You have to have a proper range of pricing. I define that as you need to have prices from $0 to $100. You need to have prices in your lineup from $100 to $1,000, and you need to have prices over $1,000. Okay. Now we can talk about the various different ways that you go to achieve that. Again, I'm going to send you a blog post. Some of you guys are returning visitors to these sessions, so you've heard me talk about it. But I cannot begin to express to you how critically important this one is and how many artists get it wrong. And underpinning it, I should say, 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 plus. Also in there is you have to have non-wall art as part of your lineup. Okay, I don't care what it is. It just has to be non-wall art. It can be anything else. Doesn't even matter. I mean, primarily the way people achieve this is merch, right? Mouse pads, iPhone cases, yoga mats, tote bags, whatever it is. Some people customers I have paint wooden spoons, and that's their non-wall art lineup. I don't care if it's stickers or photo books. It can be anything. The whole important thing is it's just non-wall art. Also, you should always be taking commissions, and we can talk more about that in a second. But the reason that this is so important is that the number one problem after your art is selling that every single solitary person on the Zoom call has is a marketing problem, okay? The number one problem you have is a marketing problem. And first you realize that, and then you start working in earnest on your marketing. When you start working on your marketing, you realize that you are attracting people as a result of that marketing into your ecosystem that are spread throughout the socioeconomic bell curve. Okay, I gotta get my hands in the picture. Lower middle class folks, okay, or low socioeconomic status folks, lower middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the bell curve, right? Everybody inevitably that does marketing is going to attract those types of people into their ecosystem. What does everyone always tell me? I just want to market to high net worth individuals. Yeah, you and every business on the face of planet Earth. You know how hard that is? No one does that. Get over it. So we're all going to be marketing and drawing people into our economic system, or into our ecosystem rather, that fits somewhere on that socioeconomic bell curve. And so you have to have prices for all of those folks. Okay, there are people that are going to be in the 0 to 100 range. There's going to be people that are in the 100 to 1,000 range, and there's going to be people that are in the 1,000 plus. In order for you to see the highest level of ROI, return on investment, on the number one thing you guys all suck at and don't want to do, pardon my French, the marketing, you need to have this range of pricing because it's going to allow you to capture the greatest percentage of customers from the eyeballs you do get to work in front of. And this is really, really, really important, you know? And a different way of thinking about it is like, you know, if I walk into your store and there's only one little shelf on there with a couple of products, I don't have a lot of options, do I? But if I walk into your store and there's 3 or 4 rows of shelves with the different products, stands to reason that my sales are going to be a little bit better, right? Because there's some different options. There's some different products in there for me. Now, on the non-wall art thing, I always get pushed back. Like, I'm a fine artist. I'm a fine art photographer. I'm not going to sell that tchotchke stuff, merch, this, that, or the other. Okay. When's the last time any of you went to a museum that didn't have a gift shop? Don't worry. I'll wait. Tell me which one. It doesn't exist for a reason, okay? Tell me the last time you went to a concert, the greatest bands in the world, individual singers that didn't have merch sales as part of that. There is a reason, okay? Because these people understand they're running a business and not a hobby. It is extremely, extremely important. There's only 3 ways to grow a business, and I have to spend some time on this because I'm going to come back to it in a future point. 1, acquire new customers, okay? That's the one everyone focuses on. Constantly, how do I acquire a new customer? How do I acquire a new customer? How do I acquire a new customer? That's where everyone focuses on. 90% of the people focus on, and it's hard. It's the hardest thing to do. The next way to grow in our business is increase what we call your AOV, your average order value. Okay, so if I come in and I buy a $500 print from you or a $500 original, and you have the ability to say, do you want a calendar with that? Do you want a mouse pad with that? Do you want a yoga mat with that? Do you want a cell phone case, a hand-painted wood spoon? And instead of getting $500, you're now getting $575 or $585 or $600, $620. Or if you raise your prices, that's a way to increase your average order value. So that's the second way. The third way is get the customer you already have to come back and buy again. Repeat business, okay, which is one of the biggest fundamentals of this entire business because it's a collector, essentially, right? Anyone that's bought more than 2 things from you, the minute they buy that second thing, they're essentially a collector at this point, and that's a fundamental tenet of this business. And so when you realize that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your lives, by which I mean running your art business, right? And by the way, just because this is like a hilarious tangent, and they're all behind paywalls now, all these damn publishers, so sometimes you never know if this is going to appear or not. But all right. I saw this today, literally today in the front of the Washington Post. What powers artists who reach old age? The work, right? And it goes on to talk about David Hockney and a whole bunch of these other artists and how they're like working until literally their last breath in life. And most oftentimes this is like 80s, 90s, 100s that they're talking about, right? My takeaway, which has been affirmed to me throughout these last couple of years, is because I routinely get people on these Zoom calls in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s asking questions about how to grow the business, okay? And why the heck do I bring that up? Understand how much time the majority of you guys have left that are going to be artists and photographers, okay? There's a lot of time left, and when you realize that, okay, you don't turn this off. Your particular gifting, however you think you got it, whether it's God or the universe or whatever, you don't turn it off. You never quit. It's not a light switch. Like the minute I retire, I am done marketing. Do I enjoy marketing? Yes, I do. Do I want to do it for the rest of my retirement? No, I don't. But it's different for you guys, right? You can't turn this off. You're going to be artists and photographers for the rest of your life. You're going to be David Hockney here at 93 and going blind, still painting things, right? Like, you know, that's just how it works. So why do I go on that rant? When you understand how much time you have potentially left in the business, and you understand, and this is all pertains to the range of pricing, that the socioeconomic bell curve, okay, is not a fixed entity. Your potential customers are going to be moving up and down that thing their entire lives. And so you're going to be selling to these folks that you're bringing in 5 years from now, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 25, 30, 45, 50 years down the line for some of you. So you realize that when you have a range of pricing, okay, and you pick up customers at the low end of the scale, the $0 to $100, you're not going to make a ton of money on that. Maybe you sold them some merch. Maybe you sold them a T-shirt or a sticker, a Christmas tree ornament. I don't care what it is. But you created a customer there. You now have a customer that you can market to in perpetuity. You now have a customer that 6 or 7 or 8 years down the line might be in the market for something a little bit bigger than a Christmas ornament. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. When you have a range of pricing, you are going to acquire more of them, okay? This is why print on demand is so damn important for this business. It is so fundamentally important, I can't begin to tell you, because whatever you're creating, I'm sitting here telling you that you need to have a range of pricing. If you just have originals and not prints, that's pretty damn difficult to do. You have to get originals of all these various different sizes and raise the prices on all of them. But when you had print on demand, okay, and print on demand just, it means no minimums. You don't have to inventory anything. You can get an order. You can box print and ship the order without even seeing anything, without even touching anything, without coming out of pocket. It's a very intelligent way to build an art business. It's an incredible advancement that's happened in this particular industry. And not only does it work for the prints, paper, canvas, metal, acrylic, wood, it also works for the merch, for the calendars, for the photo books, the cell phone cases, the mugs, the puzzles, the whatever you want to sell. So very important that you leverage print on demand. Okay, so that's number 2. Some of you guys joined late. I'm going through my top 5 art selling tips of 2022. For those of you guys that just popped in, so far I've done the work must sell, and so far I've done you have to have a range of pricing. Now, I am going to send you guys a video, okay, a video that, not a video, what am I talking about? A blog post that walks you through. In fact, I'm just going to put it in the chat right now so I don't forget. I think it's in the email, but I'm going to put it in the chat right now. In fact, I'll send it to you guys too, but it's on the Art Storefronts blog. I'm pulling it up right now, so just bear with me. It walks you through how to do the pricing thing from start to finish, because there's about like 15 different things in there that are very, very in-depth, very, very tactical. And let me tell you, pricing is like, it's like one of the most terrifying things for you guys. And so many of you get so incredibly hung up on it, and it's terrifying, and how to charge what you're worth, and time and materials, and this, that, and the other. All nonsense, all nonsense. Once you have the range, it solves like 99% of your problems. So if you look in the chat, if you just want to click on that thing, you have it. All you can do, there's a link there in the chat. You can have it. But I'm going to email it to you too. But I just wanted to put it in there anyway, in case some people leave or whatever. So, okay, that's number 2. Number 3, we're getting number 3. You have to market consistently all year long. That sounds so simple, Patrick. No kidding. I have to. Yeah. Then why are none of you doing it? You have to market consistently all year long. Okay. Now, no one's saying you have to spend 40 hours a week marketing your art business. You certainly could, but you need to spend whatever hours you have. Okay, to marketing your business consistently week in, week out for 50 weeks a year. Okay. Artists and photographers, nobody on this call, I'm sure, treat their marketing like a New Year's resolution. You sign up for the gym in January. You're going 4 days a week in January. March rolls around and you haven't been once all month. Rinse and repeat, right? It is the single solitary biggest problem artists and photographers, creatives have. Not doing the marketing and not doing it consistently. And look, I get it. It's difficult, okay? It's difficult. Nobody wants to do it. Not only that, it takes hours and hours and hours and years and years and years until you really actually get good at it. And no one understands the perspective. It takes 3 to 5 years to build a solid art business, okay? It takes 3 to 5 years to really get an art business humming. Everyone thinks that you're going to have a Mercedes at the end of year one, and that's just not the way that it works. It's not the way that it works in this industry. It's why everyone runs around looking for the special artist formula or the quick start guide to Facebook ads or the secret collector list or upload your stuff to the marketplace and watch how that works out. It doesn't work out for anybody. It never has. It never will, because there's no damn shortcut. And that needs to be said. And I know it's difficult, and I know it's a lonely road. And I know being an artist or a photographer, you're primarily a solopreneur, which is a lonely journey. You're on the damn emotional roller coaster that is being an entrepreneur by yourself, right? You don't have a lot of people aside from your significant other usually bucking you up or keeping you motivated and going. So I get it. It's hard. Also, I also understand, especially in digital marketing, the goalposts are constantly moving. The minute you figure one thing out and get decent at it, some new damn thing comes in, right? Like Instagram's the biggest thing ever. Maybe some of you are on Instagram, some of you are not, some of you are just learning it, and then all of a sudden Instagram Reels became the biggest thing. Instagram Reels weren't even a big thing a year ago. So I realize that there's a lot to the marketing, okay? I get that. I totally understand that. But understand, the one thing that you want to do the least will create the most amount of leverage in your business. And I know without talking to people, I mean, let me state it another way. By a show of hands, how many of you would love a service where you just create the work and somebody else does everything else? All the marketing and all the sales. Every hand on the Zoom call is up right now. That's exactly what I'm looking for, right? That is a fairy tale. Turns out that doesn't exist. It's never existed. And the sooner that I burst your bubble on that nonsense, the sooner we can get down to business on trying to actually grow the business with the one thing that you don't like. I would say more broadly, Art Storefronts is a business. Our secret sauce really is not just that we teach you the marketing, but that we hold you accountable, that we keep tabs on you and make sure you do it, that we'll occasionally engage in lighthearted harassment, encouragement across the board. We put you in a group with your peers that are all doing the exact same thing, right? So it is without question the biggest struggle you guys all have, and that's okay. When you come to terms with it, you start working on fixing it, and if you're going to work on fixing it, better do that consistently. You've got to do it consistently all year long. So the marketing consistently all year long. And again, just to dispel some of the things, because, for us, 80% of our customer base, I would say, 80-20 Pareto's law, 80% have full-time jobs, or they're, daytime working service-based photographers and trying to sell their fine art, or they teach art classes. 20% I would say are like full-time artists living off their art. And I understand the time commitment. Like, I understand you guys have lives and you have jobs and you have health issues and you have kids and you have this and you have that. No one is saying you have to spend 40 hours a week on your marketing. All we're saying is take the amount of hours you have to give and do it consistently 50 weeks a year, 3 years in a row, and watch what happens to your business. Everything changes. The business actually starts growing, okay? And the hardest thing is like month 3 or month 4 or month 5 where you're like, oh, I have been grinding at this. I feel like I'm making no progress. I am banging my head against the wall. And all of a sudden, and that's where everyone quits. That's where everyone quits. And if you just have a little encouragement, a little extra motivation, a little bit of harassment, lighthearted, of course, accountability, and we can push you through that spot and keep you going and saying, don't worry, I've been right where you are. It gets better. It gets easier. You can get through all of that. That's when the business really starts humming, right? That's when it really starts going. So I can't underscore that enough. So that's number 3. So far in my top 5 art selling tips from 2022, we got the work must sell. You must have proper pricing, and you have to market consistently all year long. The number 4, takeaway, and again, this is spread over a number of customers, all the conversations that I've had with you guys throughout the years. You have to run sales and promotions when the time is right. You have to run sales and promotions, okay? These are sales on your work, and there's a very simple formula that underpins this. It is discount times scarcity equals human beings more likely to take action, okay? That is just a mathematical formula. That's it. It's just maths. The discount can be anything. It could be 1% off, 5% off, buy one, get one free, free shipping, doesn't matter what it is. The scarcity is whatever it is going to end. Ends today, ends tomorrow, ends next Friday, ends Tuesday at midnight. You have those 2 things, people are more likely to take action. It's just truth. And for those that are on here, like, I'm a fine artist, I'm a fine art photographer, I would never discount my work. There's only 2 brands that I'm aware of that don't discount. It's Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's. I don't even know another 2 brands that don't discount. So if you're on this call and you're saying your brand is as sweet as Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's, then by all means, don't run sales and promotions. They're not for you, right? Point is, all of us need to be doing it. Almost more art, more photography is sold under a discount, in the galleries included, than is not, okay? Than is not. No one is saying you have to be a schlocky salesperson. All I'm saying is that mathematical formula works, okay? Discount plus scarcity equals human beings more likely to take action. It's just truth. So it's very, very important you understand that. You need to learn the fundamentals of what constitutes a good sale, how to go through that. That's beyond the topic of today's workshop, but how to tease the sale, how to announce the sale, how to contemplate the discounts. All of those types of things are critically important. And I would go as far to say that both the number of sales run per year and the efficacy of how effective you are at running those are one of the most telling indicators of the revenue potential of that particular business. Just is. And let me tell you, when you have your range of pricing, and in that range of pricing, I also talk about markups and how important markups are, and I want to go into that now, but those are what enable you to run sales and not lose money, right? Because you've marked your wholesale products up to high enough levels that it works. So critically important that, okay? Critically important that. The number of sales that you run per year, getting good at how to run sales. So important, so doggone important. So that's the 5th one, okay? The 5th one. Focus on your collector list and treat them like VIPs, okay? A collector list, when I will define this as anyone that has purchased more than one thing from you, your collector list is essentially the base salary of any art or photography business. This particular niche has a phenomenon. The phenomenon is people love collecting art, and God bless these folks because we need them, okay? There are a number of people, if that you know who is purchasing your work because you're selling direct, that you market to them in perpetuity, they will come back throughout the course of their lives and buy more and more and more and more. That's just how this business works. And when you understand that, you start taking care of these people. Now, I don't know where the book is, it's hidden. But there's this book I cite all the time, and it's called Don't Be a Starving Artist. I have it. That's a miracle. Normally it's bent. Don't Be a Starving Artist, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy. Most people would say he's the best-selling artist in the entire United States, potentially the world. I don't know how that maps into auctions and all of that, but he's very close, if not the number one. The bummer about this book, because it's so awesome, it's like really quick read, like highlightable. The bummer about it, and God love him for it, is that he only sells it directly on his website. And you know, because I think he donates all the proceeds to charity, so you can't just go to Amazon and get it. But yeah, don't be a starving artist. Anyway, Weiland talks about, for him, his definition of collector is someone that buys in upwards of 7 pieces from him. So 7 plus, and how he treats these people like VIPs. Like, they get personalized Christmas cards, Christmas cards from him, right? He'll sometimes like and comment and share on their Instagram posts. He'll send them private messages. And the reason he knows who these people are is because he sells directly to them, which is critically important. And then he markets to them all year long, and they'll just keep coming back and back and back and back and continuing to purchase from him. So when you understand how important it is to have a collector list, you start in on earnest on working on them, taking care of them, and realizing that they're the base salary, they're the 401k, they're the lifeblood of a thriving art or photography business. Almost one of the most indicative metrics of success is the size of a collector list to a business, which further underscores why all these things build upon one another. When you have the range of pricing, you have the ability to acquire 10 times the amount of customers that you would ordinarily. You don't know which one of those folks are going to turn into collectors or not. And you don't need to know. All you need to know is set yourself up to acquire as many customers as possible. Market consistently. Then you have buyers that turn into repeat buyers, that turn into collectors that you will have with you for the rest of your art creating career. So that is my list of the top 5 selling art tips from 2022. And they're going to be just as important in 2023 as they will in 24, as they will in 25, as they were 50 years ago, as they were 200 years ago. It's the whole ball game. It's the whole ball of wax. You know, one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough, and then I'll open it up to Q&A. We can get into whatever you guys like. I've talked to thousands, of artists, photographers, week in, week out. Aside from selling direct via your website and your own marketing, doing some portion of the fair and show circuit, any combination therein between the two, I don't know almost any artists and photographers that are becoming successful any other way. They're just not. If you look at the number of artists and photographers that are selling through online marketplaces, for instance, right? Saatchi, Redbubble, Fine Art America, Etsy, take your pick. Or the ones that are in galleries, in retail galleries. The number of folks that are doing those activities, any combination of those activities, and making anything approaching a living is sort of like the number of people that you know that play a sport versus the number of people that you know that are a professional athlete in that sport. Some of us might know a professional athlete, some of us might not. Regardless, the odds are extremely, extremely low to see a degree of success that way. The only way that I see actual growing and thriving businesses year over year over year, and do not take it cynically like it's a sales pitch, like you have to sign up in the art storefronts to be this, but understand it is selling direct and doing local fair shows, in-person events. I would go as far to say the combination of the two is sort of the balanced diet of a regular and consistently growing art and photography business, because it is so effective to do in-person shows or fairs. But that one didn't make it on my list. I'm saying that at a high level. We can go to Q&A from there. Again, how does the Q&A work? If you're one of the brave ones, camera on. All you got to do is raise your hand, and I'll be like, that person has a question. I can unmute you. I can bring you on. For everyone else that doesn't have the camera on, at the bottom here is this little smiley face, and it says reactions on it. When you click that, you have the ability to raise your hand, digitally speaking, and that lets me know you have a question. Like you can see Wallace just did it. Good job, Wallace. So that lets me unmute you, bring you on. If you want to turn your camera on, great. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on, okay? I hate being on video. I have a face for radio. This wasn't my job. You would never know what I look like. So there's that. And then you can also throw questions in the chat, and I'm happy to do those as well. So, Wallace, we're going to start off with you. Kick us off. How you doing? You have to unmute, Wallace. You have to, the mic icon, bottom left-hand corner.
Unmute. Thank you.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, I just had several questions, but I think maybe it might be more appropriate for a different venue, but or different presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a question about the merchandise.
Yes.
Would art storefronts also do merchandise on demand?
Yeah, we do all of that. Like
okay.
Yeah.
Not so more than just prints then. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We have like.
And then the other thing that one other question in addition to that is the framing.
Yes.
you will do the framing as well. But how is it any part of that that would come back to the artist, or is that all out of art storefront, all art storefronts profit?
No. Like, all we do is we partner with the entities that can print and ship the items. We negotiate wholesale pricing on your behalf, and we're out of the equation at that point.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
An order comes into your business. It hits
Okay.
your merchant account. It
Oh, I
goes to
see.
pay the wholesale pricing to the vendor in question. You
I see.
set your price on top of that. Everything that you set on top of that, obviously, we make some recommendations in terms of markups and the like. The price that you set on top of that is what comes back to you, and that's that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Mohammed, are you there? You'll have to hit the unmute button. Mic icon, bottom left-hand corner, Mohammed. I'll let you know when you get it. You have to hit that mic icon. I'll leave you on unmute, Mohammed, see if you can figure it out. Otherwise, I'm going to go to Diana. All right, go ahead, Diana. You can unmute, bottom left-hand corner. Yep.
Hello. I wanted to ask a question. If I wanted to participate in start being get a website with restaurants, how does the process look like? Do I need to speak to someone directly?
Yeah.
So about the marketing, or how does it?
Yeah, so I can walk you through that. You know, if we do the test ride process essentially, where you get on a Zoom call with somebody on our outreach team, and then they give you a tour of everything that we do, all the bells, all the whistles, all the pricing, all the plans. You can ask whatever questions you want and go through the whole thing. The interesting thing that we do, which I'll be proud to say was primarily driven by me making a nuisance inside, is with us, you don't build the website, number one. We build the entire thing for you. That's number one. So you don't even touch anything. You just upload all of your stuff to us, and we build the entire website for you. And then number two, at least right now, that might change, but you'll never have to touch the website again for as long as you live, because we handle all of the updates in perpetuity. And the reason that we do that is because I don't want any of you reading Web Design for Dummies 101, okay? I don't need any of you speaking GoDaddy or HTML or CSS or JavaScript, because that is a damn waste of your time, all right? If I want successful customers, I need you focused on creating the art, marketing the art, and selling the art, nothing else. Nowhere in there is building websites, becoming a webmaster, a web programmer, uploading things, fixing things, editing text, and for damn sure not designing. Okay, some of you tried to do that in the past. How's that worked out for you? Let alone updating things. And so we handle 100% of that for you for life. And the reason is, by the way, is turns out the more successful our customers are, the faster our business grows. So the last thing I need any of you doing is messing around with websites in the slightest, which is just a huge waste of time. So that's a very, very interesting thing that we do that I'm not even sure any of the other providers do, period. And I'm actually really pretty proud about that. Like, not only do you not have to build the website, and we're not like authoritarian about it. Like, if you want to make edits or changes on your website, of course you can do that. And of course we have the whole system to do that, but we will also do it all for you. If that gets you spending more time on marketing, more time on creating, more time on selling. So I would say, get a demo, Diana. It's pretty easy. There's buttons everywhere all over our website, and they'll walk you through the plans and the bells and the whistles and all the various different things. I don't know if that answered the question or not. I'll try to unmute you again, Diana. It was hard to hear you before, though, so you'll have to speak up if you have a follow-up.
Okay, yeah. So I get a demo for what's the demo code?
It's just like request a demo. The buttons are like literally everywhere. In fact, you don't even have to do it. I'll write your name down so I remember, and I'll just have them email you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, where's my little notepad before I forget? Tell you again, my children. It's the weekend, and I'm just not dialed in here. Writing myself an email so I don't forget about Diana W. Diana W. Follow up. All right, done. Diana, I got you. All right. David, I'm going to get you next. Okay, go ahead. David, you can unmute.
I'm sorry, were you calling on me?
Yeah, you're up.
Where can I go on the internet to see samples of websites that art storefronts have designed?
Yeah, I can give you a whole bunch of them. What I would say is there's very little design that goes into them. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have like a couple of templates, this, that, and the other, but there's not a huge, tremendous amount of variance between, all of them. They all look very, very similar, and there's a very strategic reason for that. And it's funny because what I'll do every once in a while is I'll get a bunch of people that signed up for our email list, and I'll search their emails, find out what their social sites are, and then I'll go and look at the website. And let's say I'll grab 25 people that signed up to the email list today, and I'll see 20 websites as a result of it. One of the things that I notice almost universally is how few artists and photographers get this, what I'm about to tell you conceptually. Anything and everything that we attempt to do as art sellers on the internet is just copy what works in the real retail world, okay? And what do I mean by that? You ever notice how, well, I should say, where's the best place to buy art of photography or to see art of photography? It is an art gallery, or you could argue a museum. So one thing that you notice about all art galleries and all museums, they're very, very similar in a number of different regards, aren't they? White walls, art that's well lit, and nothing else. And nothing else. It's all about the art. All of the focus is on the art. So knowing that is the paradigm of how people like to buy, view, and think about art, and knowing that everything that we attempt to do, digitally speaking, is just replicate what works in the retail world in that paradigm I just explained. Why are more websites not dead simple, minimalist, where the art is front and center and everything else fades into the background? And yet when I do that audit, when I do that audit of people that have signed up for the email list and I check out their websites, do you know what I notice? Beautiful design, amazing colors, slideshows. Sometimes there's music, long sections. I mean, I am so distracted. It would be a damn miracle if I even saw the art of photography in the first place. You guys left your own devices. Screw this whole equation up so significantly. So all of that was a long-winded rant to say. Our websites, our templates that we use, mimic as close as possible the retail art buying experience, because that is how you lower friction and that is how you make it very, very easy. So I could cycle through a bunch of them. If you have you gotten a demo, David? I'll just throw some in the chat for you while you're asking that question or answering. William,
Asking me if I have a demo?
yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen one or no?
No, I have not yet.
Yeah, okay, cool. They'll walk you through a bunch, but I'll send you a couple of the templates in the chat, and you can click on those if you like.
Yeah, I actually like the idea of simplicity.
No, it's so important. It's so important. And like to underscore it, and hold on, I'll pull one up. Like it there's so many, and I threw a couple in the chat for you. You can check out. There's so many people that like try to overcomplicate an equation that is just, it's not complicated, right? Like, it's just not complicated. Your job, right? Your job is just to mimic what's already working. Like, stop trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Like, this has already been solved centuries ago, and it manifests itself a couple of different ways. Like, do you know when I made the earlier point about running sales? Like, retail has figured this out centuries ago. Like, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. We're all just following what actually like works in the real world. But anyway, okay, so this is what I want to show you. So I've got this blog post, and it's not this one. So about that, oh yeah. And I'm going to throw this in the chat too so you guys can see it. Hold on. But it's like, it becomes like even more poignant when you see it visibly. And I talk about all the reasons why your website needs to have what it needs to have in here, which is great. But it's like, you look at the photo, right? Every art gallery in the world looks like this. There's fancy lighting, there's art all over the walls, and there's maybe one table with a computer where they're willing to take your credit card, right? Like, that photo right there, like, does it for me. That's what a website should look like. Like there's the art and there is nothing else. There shouldn't be anything else. Otherwise, they're going to get distracted by a cat video and they're going to go off to wherever they're going to go off and they're never going to come back, right? Like there's no need to reinvent the wheel here. This is very, very simple. It's not showing the right thing on my screen. I just realized. Doggone it. I see what I did here. Hold on. Okay, let's just finish that rant again. So what did I say with the photos? You know, every gallery in the world looks like that, right? And this is where it hits. Like, that's what the website should look like. Well lit, art on the white walls, nothing else. Nothing else at all. Because your eyes are just naturally drawn to the only thing that matters, which is the art. No friction, no anything else. So I'll put this thing in the chat too. But anyway, you got me long-winded ranting. Did that answer your questions, David?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So Douglas is asking me in the chat, it's more profitable to create and market the works and sales and leave it up for business like art storefronts to make their website and help them market their work. Yes. Yes, 100% I'm saying that. Onyekwu Chudi. I don't have a website to show you my painting works. What other platform do you want to use to show me your works? You could send me your Instagram on Yeku, but it's not. I don't necessarily need to look at your work. That's not gonna get me anywhere. Okay, Wallace, you had another one. Go ahead. You need to unmute again, Wallace.
I've been trying to get on to do a demo, and I get the advertisement for the demo like half hour or 15 minutes before it starts, and I've already got stuff going on, so I just requested another demo online.
Yeah,
but if you're taking names, I would like to get into a demo as well.
Yep, I'll do that. So what we do is when we get like slammed, just like you're on this Zoom session, we'll do the group ones,
I see.
And so that's what you're getting, those like, such and such in 5 minutes, whatever it is. But you can get a one-on-one too, of course.
Yeah,
so,
and then one other question.
Yeah.
I am just getting started selling. I've only sold to family and friends.
Yeah.
But I am, I'm starting to get everything together to start doing art shows and pop-ups and stuff like that.
Yes,
and
love that.
I am curious though, if you guys would provide any help in helping to establish like baseline pricing on the work that I'm doing.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
That pricing guide I sent you will walk you through the entire thing. And it's like,
oh, that's great. Thank you.
The beautiful thing about it is, everyone is like, here's what I have. What should I charge for it? Right.
Yeah.
Which is like, what is that? I mean, a bunch of us could sit around and throw stuff on the wall and whatever comes down first, choose that. Right. But when you invert the problem, Wallace, and you work from it backwards, you're like, okay, I got to have stuff 0 to 100. What does that range look like? And then you have your merchandise and you have your small art prints. And then I'm at 100 to 1,000. What does that look like? My smaller prints in metal, acrylic, canvas, and wood. Then the mid-range are my bigger prints. The high end is usually the limited editions. And then the over 1,000 is limited editions and some of the originals, right? So already you can see just by structuring it that way, it's like, okay, wait a minute. I actually have much easier boxes to fit things into here, right? Then you understand we help you with your markup percentage. And your markup percentage is essentially 250% or more based on what your wholesale cost is. So then that starts checking out, filling in a bunch of the boxes, right? At that point, all you're doing is just massaging things a little bit here or there to have the lineup, and you're done. You're done. And what no one understands is like, once you have the lineup, it makes it very easy to raise or lower prices. It almost eliminates all the lowball offers, okay? Because when someone's like, oh, that thing is so beautiful, and it cost you $1,000 or you spent umpteen hours on it, and you're selling it for $5,000, and they're like, would you take $500 for it? Rather than go, get angry and everything else, you can be like, no, I wouldn't, but let me show you what's in your price range, right? And you automatically have somewhere where they land. And the reality is that human beings are not, the majority are not complete derelicts like that, right? They're not bad people. They just don't know any better unless you show them the range. When you have the range, it almost eliminates all the knucklehead lowball offers. It's so much better for your self-esteem at the end of the day.
I've already run into that actually, trying to sell my originals, and it's like people, oh, okay, no. It's like, so I started doing prints, and I think that's going to be a really interesting
so helpful. It's
track.
It's so helpful.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, Wallace. I'll have somebody contact you. It's so important. That's like that that's why the pricing was so high up in the list. Not that there was any hierarchy to it, but it is such a lifesaver. I mean, lifesaver. It's just, it's just, it is like one of the number one things that just solves so many issues that artists and photographers face. The pricing is just a huge one. But who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? If not, we can certainly wrap it up there, and I will send you guys a follow-up email in a bit with one of the other videos that I was recommending you guys watch. It's short, it's 22 minutes, that I think you'll find really valuable. But go ahead, Lewis. I got to unmute. Lewis, you just press that mic icon down there somewhere. Yeah.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What is about the average price per month for this service?
So there's not really, it depends on what plan you sign up for and what duration of years it is to like what it comes into monthly. Essentially the way that we work is we are one part like website technical solution, the POD, all of those bells and whistles. And then we're one part undergraduate, postgraduate university that teaches art business marketing, essentially. So it could be thought of exactly like a college, no joke. Like there's homework, there's weekly sessions like this that are teaching the various different things. There's a calendar that tells you what to do 365 days a year. There's a Facebook group that you're in with a bunch of people that are your peers, and you're all learning from one another and talking about what's working. And so you have the full university at your disposal the entire time. We charge a monthly fee like any website company does, and then we charge a one-time fee to get into the university, which goes to the army of folks to support you. So depending on what plan you get, it's a good question. I don't know what the actual monthly payment is. It's probably like, I don't know, like $100 and something a month, $120, $130, depending on which plan you're on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's a very interesting question, breaking it down to the payment, though. I think it's like literally the first time I've heard it. It always demystifies things and makes the numbers like simpler and easier, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a good question. All right, Douglas, do you have anything to say for an artist to show their works on YouTube? Douglas, I don't think YouTube is the best platform for artists or for art sales, I should say. Now, don't get me wrong. YouTube has a number of different uses. It is the second biggest search engine in the world, but I rank the platforms and how successful they are at capturing emails for artists and ultimately making sales for artists. And YouTube is not in the top 3, not even close. Well, maybe top 5, maybe not really though. It's Instagram and Facebook are the 2 big ones right now that are actually driving art sales. So YouTube is helpful if you need to park a video somewhere and link a video and be able to do that free, and it works out. Yeah, of course, right on call. Ryan's on here is like, hey, wait a minute. I'm using, does it pull up? I used to have the comments pull up. Well, what happened? I'm telling you, my kids have like single-handedly been destroying my entire computer operation day by day. Doggone it. I used to be able to pull this comment up. Anyway, Ryan, I see your comment. He's like, I'm using YouTube right now to promote my art. I'm not saying don't use YouTube to promote your art. I'm just saying that it's not as effective to promote your art as is Instagram, right? Now, you can use YouTube, okay? No, I'm certainly not against that or anything like that. It's just not the highest ROI place. Here it is. Does it work? Does it still work? Doggone it. I'll tell you. That's why IT is like the one career you need to have, like if you just don't ever want to lose your job, because something is just always breaking with a computer, even through me. I used to have this beautiful way to like put the YouTube comments. But anyway, Ryan Howard, I saw your thing. YouTube's not the highest leverage. So max out Instagram first, YouTube secondarily. Which is not to say some people that don't like, that show their drawing and get a bunch of people into it that way don't eventually sell. But that's what I would say. We stream to YouTube. You're watching this live on YouTube right now, both of you, so you guys sort of know I'm not ignoring it myself. But yeah. Okay, who else, guys? Questions? Comments? I feel like I'm talking myself in circles today sometimes. All right. Well, I'm going to send you guys a follow-up email that's going to have all the bells, all the whistles, all the videos that we talked about today. The list is very important, and anyone who wants to rewatch this video, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. We streamed it to both of them, so it's there. Work on that list. We can certainly help you with some of them. Like I said, we are, at least as it pertains to right now, the month of December, you sign up, we will both build your website and maintain it for life, which is a crazy offer. I'm not sure any other companies I'm aware of do. So thing we're really proud to offer on balance. But that's what I got. Appreciate you guys all spending on Monday with me. Hope you found the session to be valuable. Hope to see you on the inside. For all those I said that we would contact you, we'll contact you. And thanks for hanging out and spending some time with me on Monday, you guys. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye now.